94%. That's the number that should have been on the front page of every health publication in the country. When Attitude magazine surveyed women living with both ADHD and perimenopause, 94% of them said their ADHD symptoms got dramatically worse during the perimenopausal transition. Not slightly worse. Not sometimes worse. Almost universally worse. For decades, we've treated ADHD and perimenopause as if they had nothing to do with each other. ADHD lived in psychiatry. Perimenopause lived in gynecology. The women experiencing both at the same time were stuck in the middle, telling doctors that something fundamental had changed in their brains, and being told it was probably just stress. But the women have been right all along. And in 2025, the peer-reviewed research finally caught up to what they already knew. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this collision happens to almost every woman with ADHD, which symptoms get worst. And most importantly, what the latest research and the clinicians who specialize in this actually suggest you can do about it. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about where these numbers come from, because the honest distinction matters. The 94% figure is from a reader survey conducted by Attitude magazine, the leading publication for adult ADHD. It's not a randomized controlled trial. It's a self-reported survey of women already living with both conditions. That kind of data has limits, and I am telling you that up front, because I'm not going to dress up evidence to make a point. But here's why the number still matters. When 94% of any group reports the same experience, that's not a coincidence. That's a pattern strong enough to warrant scientific investigation. And in 2025, scientific investigation showed up. A major population-based cohort study published in the journal European Psychiatry, drawn from over 5,000 Icelandic women, found that women with ADHD experienced debilitating perimenopausal symptoms at nearly double the rate of women without 54% versus 33%. The difference was most striking between ages 35 and 39, suggesting that women with ADHD may enter perimenopause as much as 10 years earlier than the general population. That's a peer-reviewed population scale finding. It doesn't prove the 94% number from the magazine survey, but it independently confirms the underlying pattern. Something real is happening here, and it's happening at scale. If you felt like your brain stopped working sometime in your late 30s or early 40s, like the version of yourself who could juggle work and family and a social life suddenly went offline, this is the science that finally explains it. Quick pause. If this is the first video of mine you're watching and you realizing this might be your story, hit subscribe. This channel exists for exactly this reason, to take the latest research on hormones, ADHD, and the female brain, and translate it into content you can actually use. No supplements being sold. No miracle protocols. Just the evidence, given to you straight. New videos every week. Okay, now the question that matters. Why does this happen? The answer comes down to one molecule. Dopamine. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that runs your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for focus, motivation, working memory, emotional regulation, and the ability to actually do the things you mean to do. People with ADHD have brains that don't produce, transport, or use dopamine the way neurotypical brains do. That's not a personality flaw. It's neurochemistry. It's why stimulant medications work. They directly increase dopamine availability in the brain regions that need it. Estrogen is the master regulator of female reproductive cycles, but it does something else that almost no one was taught in school. Estrogen enhances dopamine production. It slows dopamine's breakdown, and it sensitizes the dopamine receptors in your prefrontal cortex. In a neurotypical brain, estrogen acts as a constant background support to cognition. In an ADHD brain, estrogen has been doing something even more important. It's been compensating, quietly, for decades. For a woman with ADHD, estrogen has been propping up a dopamine system that was always running lean. Many women with ADHD don't even realize they have it through their 20s and early 30s. because estrogen has been buying them just enough cognitive function to mask the underlying difference. They built coping strategies on a hormonal foundation they didn't know was there. Then perimenopause begins. Estrogen doesn't just decline in perimenopause. It fluctuates wildly. Some months you might have estrogen levels higher than you've ever had. The next month, they crash. And this can begin in your late 30s, often a full decade before your periods become noticeably irregular. For a neurotypical woman, the result is the familiar perimenopausal cognitive package: brain fog, forgetfulness, scattered focus, mood swings. Frustrating but generally manageable. For a woman with ADHD, the result is collapse. The hormonal cushion she didn't know she had is suddenly gone. The coping strategies she spent 30 years building stop working. The systems she relied on to remember appointments, regulate her emotions, finish projects, get to sleep, manage her relationships. They don't fail one at a time. They fail all at once. That's why 94% of women with ADHD report dramatic worsening. It's not exaggeration. It's neurochemistry losing its main backup. So which symptoms get worse? Based on both clinical observation and the published research, a consistent pattern shows up. Executive function takes the biggest hit. Tasks that used to be automatic, planning your week, prioritizing your work, switching between activities, suddenly require enormous effort. Many women describe feeling like their internal operating system stopped updating. Working memory deteriorates noticeably. You walk into rooms and forget why. You start sentences and can finish them. You read a paragraph 3 times and still can't tell anyone what it said. This is the symptom women most often mistake for early dementia, and the fear it produces is significant. Emotional regulation gets harder. Rejection sensitivity, the disproportionate emotional pain in response to perceived criticism or rejection that, common in ADHD, often intensifies during perimenopause. Women report crying at things that wouldn't have touched them before. Smaller frustrations feel bigger. The nervous system feels turned up too high all the time. Sleep gets badly disrupted. ADHD already produces a delayed sleep phase and a racing mind at bedtime. Perimenopause adds night sweats and middle-of-the-night wake-ups. Together, they produce a level of sleep debt that amplifies every other symptom. And stimulant medications, for women who take them, often start feeling less effective, particularly in the second half of the menstrual cycle, when estrogen is naturally lower. And overall, as perimenopausal estrogen decline progresses, many women adjust their dose or switch medications, sometimes unnecessarily, when the underlying issue is hormonal. So what can you actually do? This is where the conversation moves from understanding to agency. The first thing, and this is critical, is to track. Not because tracking solves anything, but because it gives you and your clinicians the data you need to make real decisions. You cannot treat what you cannot see. I've made a free 60-day symptom tracker designed specifically for this. The link is in the description. The second thing is to find clinicians who actually understand both conditions. This is harder than it should be. Most general practitioners are not trained in modern perimenopause care, and even fewer are equipped to diagnose adult ADHD in women. You will likely need 2 specialists working in parallel. For the hormonal side, look for a Menopause Society certified practitioner. The Menopause Society maintains a public directory. For the ADHD side, look for an adult psychiatrist or psychologist with specific experience diagnosing women, and ask directly how many adult women they've diagnosed in the past year. If the number is low, keep looking. The third thing is to have an evidence-informed conversation about hormone therapy. Some research suggests that estradiol therapy, in particular, may help cognitive symptoms in perimenopausal women, though the evidence base is still developing. And this is absolutely a decision to make with a qualified clinician who knows your full health history. The point isn't that HRT is right for everyone. The point is that it should be on the table for discussion, and many women's doctors don't bring it up at all. The fourth thing is to address sleep aggressively. Of all the levers you can pull, sleep is the most powerful. Perimenopause-related sleep disruption, night sweats, 3 a.m. wake-ups, multiplies every cognitive symptom of ADHD. Working with a clinician on sleep specifically, whether through hormone therapy, non-hormonal medications, sleep hygiene, or cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, often produces the biggest single improvement. The fifth thing is to have a real conversation with your prescriber about how your medication interacts with your cycle, if you are still cycling. Some clinicians experienced in this space discuss cycle-aware approaches to stimulant timing or dosing. This is highly individual and absolutely not something to adjust on your own, but it's a conversation worth having with someone qualified. The sixth thing is community. Women navigating perimenopause and ADHD together often describe feeling profoundly isolated, like they're the only ones experiencing this collision, like they become someone unrecognizable they aren't. Whether through online communities, support groups, or simply finding other women going through the same thing, knowing you're not alone makes the process significantly less destabilizing. And the seventh thing, the one I want to leave you with, is to stop accepting "it's just stress" as a final answer. Because it isn't. It's the absence of one. The research is clear enough now that no informed clinician should dismiss the connection between perimenopause and ADHD. If your doctor does, you are entitled to seek another. That's not being difficult. That's being well-informed. If this video gave you language for something you've been struggling to explain, to yourself, to your partner, to your doctor, please subscribe. New research-backed videos every week, all of them aimed at the women that medicine is still treating as separate problems. And while you're here, you should see other videos popping up on your screen, including the one on how to actually tell perimenopause and ADHD apart, symptom by symptom. Pick whichever speaks to where you are right now. You're not losing your mind. You're learning how it works. See you in the next one.